Hey there, game devs. So, quick backstory about me. My name's Ryan Saunders. I'm a full-time indie dev. Been working in game dev now for around 3 years. I first started with small games and game jams, and eventually doing my first small commercial game on Steam. Basically just to learn the ropes about shipping a game and integrating with systems like achieves and leaderboards, that kind of good stuff. For the past year and a half, I've been working on my first big commercial game. Very passionate about it. It's called Gamedev Masters. I'm not going to go into major detail about the game for this video, but essentially it's a tycoon game about making games. You can check out the free demo on Steam. There's a link below in the description. Suffice it to say, for the first time, I've had players reaching out to me asking me for the game to be released in Chinese or Russian and some other languages and whatnot. And of course, as a developer, you just want as many people to play as possible. So, I've been saying yes, but not till we reach a certain point during early access. For the past 6 months of early access, I've been rapidly adding features to the game based on player suggestions, my own ideas, all kinds of stuff like that. We've just been cranking out features and expanding on the game. Now we're reached a point where I consider the game feature ready, in air quotes, and we can move towards localization as we polish the game and flesh out some of the more underbaked systems and whatnot. So on about December 1st, I decided it was time to learn how to localize a game, which I'll admit I was a tad terrified of that, but I thought I could get there. I consider myself a really good programmer, but I'm still fairly new to a lot of aspects of game dev. There's a lot of weaker elements I'm still working on and learning as I go, and localization was one of those things. Well, I quickly learned that localizing a game is actually really freaking easy with Unreal Engine. However, I then learned of how much work I was about to need to do to prepare this game for this easy localization. What fall was about 300 to 400 hours of extra work, and all of this work was derived from my own ignorance of how localization worked, and I could have avoided it. So after going through this experience, I felt obligated to make this video, maybe try and help educate any newer devs planning to localize their games in the future. So I'm gonna give you a quick crash course on localization UE4. So if you're worried about how to localize, you'll see it's very easy. But more importantly, I'm going to show you what not to do if you plan to localize your game later in development, or how to set things up so that they will be ready to add localization when the time's right. Which, from a logic standpoint, waiting until I had the vast majority of features in the game made sense. And I stand by that, because we were constantly adding new HUDs with new words. It would have been a nightmare to constantly get localization. But however, not knowing how to set stuff up is what led to my recent nightmare. But I'm glad to announce it. Now crossed that hurdle. The first language is in the game. It's been added to GDM. And, I lost probably a solid month, but, maybe a good portion of my sanity, but we did get there. So, let's just get into it. So, first things first. This is a brand new project using a third-person template, just to cut down on some of the setup time. Haven't done anything yet. This is in version 4.27, but this applies to previous engine versions as well. I would assume UE5 has a similar system, but I can't be certain of that since GDM's made in UE4 version 0.25. I've yet to kind of experiment with UE5, but I would assume they've kept the same system, but don't quote me on that. So we're just sitting in a new project. First thing I'm going to do is I need to make a I know that's the route, but I like to make my own route. And that's just for it's just the way I work. You do you. But I always make my own route so that if I bring in assets, I can pull them in to my own route, and it's just the way I work. And I use Zoot because Zoot's nowhere in anything. So I want to set this to be new editor window, and I just want to pop in to the level blueprint, And I just want to make this maximize. So just a begin play here. I just want to. This isn't relevant to the tutorial, but I like to work in full screen. So get game user setting. Just gonna. Well, I guess I don't really need to get. I know what my desktop resolution is actually. So we'll set the full screen mode. And then we'll set the resolution. No, not the scale. Let me do it. Sorry, I think it's screen resolution. Yeah. I'm using a typical 1920 by 1080, but I was gonna get the whatever you're running it, but that's irrelevant. And then we're just gonna apply these settings, just because I like it in full screen. I just find it better to work in full screen. Yeah, that's all. It's not really relevant, but it helps me. Okay, so first thing we need to do is just set up a couple HUDs that we can use for an example. This will be like one for the settings, and then we need two, and one for just the stuff for the tutorial. We already got the third person guy, so we're just gonna go into him. We're just gonna add key press. Not gonna worry about this stuff. We'll leave everything as is. Just come over here. We'll use Z, and X is not a great choice. Trying to see, Z is so good because it comes up really good. Nah, let's type input. Scroll up. See, it's a pain in the ass, but it's up here. I want X actually. I'll go with X. Yeah. Okay. So we're just gonna create the widget. Actually, you know what? It's for my own sense of thing. I wanna. Just wanna set the input mode game on. I hate having to click on the screen to get control. Z will do the setting, and the X will do the tutorial one. We're gonna, actually, we're gonna pop into this one. I just want to add a quick function. You can, this kind of stuff you can trust the construct for it. But I honestly, I don't like construct because you can't recall it. And sometimes, like if they change data in the HUD and you want to reconstruct the HUD, I like to have my own function. But I usually just have a make HUD in almost all my HUDs basically. And it's just like a custom construct script. But then I can recall it later when I need it. Just add this to the blue part. Boom. This one up here. This one just gonna go straight up. Okay. Okay. I don't need to comment it and shit. Anyway, don't worry about that. So let's go to these HUDs here. Let's get them both open. Okay. So for the setting one. Just gonna get a vert box, we'll get a text, check it in here, whoops, missed, check it in here, just gonna wrap this in a border, and wrap the border in a border, put it like a nice chunky six. This one will size the content, we'll leave it white, and this one will make the, we'll just tint it black. Perfect. Okay, so This is the setting? Yeah, correct. So it's just going to see. So settings menu. Oh, make this a bigger one. Okay, so what we need for this, all we really want in here is just this. It's going to be like language colon. I'm going to wrap that with a horizontal. I'm going to stick a combo. Stick a combo in here. We'll just pad that to the left of like 15. You know what? I'm gonna actually size box it. We're gonna add options to this, although you're gonna come back to realize that this doesn't work. The other language we're gonna concern ourselves with, it doesn't really matter actually. I mean, we'll go with French because that's what I just did, but we're not actually translating this stuff. It's not really important. So you can see it's like super tiny, but we'll size box it, combo box. So you get a nice big one. We'll take this and we're just gonna pad. We'll use this to go left and right. 10 from the bottom. I mean, I guess we need a close button. Right? Yeah, I guess we need like a close button. So we'll just get a button. Check it in here. I will put a timestamp if I can figure out how to do that in the video. If you want to jump this preset stuff, if you're just interested in the lessons about localization as well as how to localize or whatever, we can do that. You can do that, right? Actually, I want to just go to the hovered and put yellow. Oh shit, wrong one. Sorry, this one. Yeah. Okay. Get this. Then just down here. Take this. 6 and 6. Pad from the bottom. 15. Slap the top. Okay, boom. That's a beautiful settings menu. So click. This one's just gonna just kill itself. Oh, is it autosave? Oh, you know what? I hate that. I always run with autosave on, but that's okay. For this tutorial, that's fine. So this is gonna have two options: English, French. It's gonna go down to selection changed. I'm gonna, what was the name of this fucking thing? Combo box. I'm gonna get selected index. I could just take this and plug it straight into the culture. You could set current culture. Could do this. And then I could change those to just be EN. FR, but I mean, this is not how I want to do it, and that won't work in a few minutes anyway, so don't learn that anyway. So we don't need the default. We got 0, 1. No, it's just going to be boop, boop, and this one's going to be English and French. Even though we haven't set that up yet, but we will very shortly. Just trying to set up these HUDs. So let's just quick anchor this to the center. Pull that roughly to the center. And then I'm going to copy it. Bring it over here. Let's just compile this. good. It was beautiful. Oh, you know what? I need the mouse. I need to get player controller off the pen. Put mode. We'll go UI only. That's chunky looking, but I don't really care. I don't really need to focus the widget, so whatever. I don't care. That'll work totally fine. But we'll go back into the close button. Oh, I never code. No, I did. Where the hell is it? Oh, it's right above water. Back to game only. This is kind of an unnecessary step, but it's just, I don't know. It's kind of bothered me not to do it. Okay, so for this, we're just gonna ditch this text. Ditch that. We'll keep the close button. So what we actually want here in this one, for the purpose of this demo, we need text. Okay, and this one is going to be an example text that we're going to make up. So we just have to type some stuff in here. And then I just want to size box it. We'll go 450. We'll take this text. We're gonna unwrap it 440, and we're going to we'll center it just because whatever. And then we'll take this and we're going to pad off the thing from the top. Okay, and then I need like kind of like a stat kind of menu. Actually, no, use that. I'll just need text. So something will be like, you know, endurance. And then we'll horizontal this. Up in here, we'll say max of that is like 1,000. Okay, and we'll pad that to about 10, so roughly. And then I'm gonna put a couple of these real quick, but just so like this lines up kind of. You want to get your longest one. This isn't what the tutorial is about. Do something like that. We're gonna go to 175, and then take this one, line it to the right, and this one to the left. Okay, and then I'm gonna actually wrap that in a vertical block, and then I can add it here, pad the top like 5. And this one will be what, like strengths. See, like, and then it'll line them all up. You could put a ton of them if we wanted to. Okay, that's our little vertical box, just so we can see it's filling right now, but we could center it out. Maybe take these. Let's see now if these numbers change. This would collapse on itself a bit. If I want to keep it locked in place, I can size box these, or there's several ways we could do it, but I'm going to just size box one of these. Something like that. That way we can go 1,000. Okay. We don't technically need to size box all of them because this will be forced anyway. We're gonna take this and, you know, we're gonna wrap it in a border. Path 3. Well, I don't. This is an unnecessary step, but whatever. We're going with like a grid, just something to make it kind of stand out. Whatever. And then, you know, I'm gonna wrap this actually in a. No, I'll put that below, actually separate. That's fine. I'm just gonna take this and pad on the top, like 25, 10, and then I just want to have, as well as an image, and then this is perfect. This is gonna be perfect. So we put that up. I'm gonna wrap that in the size box. I'm gonna drop it down. We'll say this is going to be like 100 by 100. Okay. These are all the things you really need. This is a big guy here, so we're going to take him. I'm going to pad left 25, right 25. Okay. Perfect. Now we'll take this, add it to this button. Click. Okay. So now, just one last thing. This is like this text here. We're just gonna call this made text because I don't know what it actually for. So I would normally name it for what it made sense, but essentially when we make the HUD, it's gonna be like we're gonna set this text. Okay, and it's going to be based off of something from the player. Well, I guess we'll need a wrap to that player. It's called third person character. Then we'll expose it. And then we'll just put a self in there. And then we'll give him a variable called my name, and we'll make it a string. We'll say his name is Ryan Saunders. That's my name. We'll go with that. Okay. So this comes in. I'm gonna get this guy. Get the name. What call it my name. Okay, because we just want to set this text. Let me move this up a little bit. So we're going to need a pen. I don't want this to be, you know, this is like, you know, it's a custom text in the game. I do this like so much in Game Dev Masters. And this is why this is a problem. But it'd be something like, hello. This guy. This is your character menu. Insert. Okay. Something to be long enough to. Well, I mean, it doesn't really. Actually, doesn't matter for formats. It does though. Okay, I didn't put that near the center, but we'll move that over. But yeah, okay, so basically you got in your game you have variables and you're doing that same as like you're gonna have the character would have endurance and strength and a picture. Okay, I'm gonna move that above that actually. I don't know why I'm concerned with that, but whatever. But yeah, it's whatever information you're building. It's not about the information, it's about the localization of that information. Okay, so we say we're we're golden. We got this set up, right? So now we move to localization. So in order to localize, so whatever the timestamp here is where we jump to. Just come to Window, Localization, Dashboard. I'm just gonna dock it up here. Actually, that's kind of annoying that I gotta move my shit off screen. But whatever. Most of this stuff is already good to go. Let's just see. I like to add tooltips from my game. I go with packages, which this gives you UAsset. UAsset is almost like friggin' everything. So you just gotta include your path. We're just going with the zoo. Everything that's in the zoo, we want that to be considered. This doesn't matter. None of this stuff really matters. That's pretty good. And add. I said it was French. It doesn't really matter. You're doing this for whatever you're doing this for. You want this dot is very important. You need to make sure that that's your default culture. Okay, you want that on whatever you're making the game in. In this case, for me, obviously, it's English. Let's close these down. Yeah, essentially, so you add whatever cultures you want, and then we just do a gather. It'll sniff through the zoo directory because that's the only one we've given it. So it's done that gather. Well, what do you mean? Just put in 0? 0 entries? What are you talking about? Oh, to set something up. Oh, I didn't click the button. What pro? Let's try that again. Yeah, you need to tell it that you want to actually do the packages. So there we go. We got 26 words, and then you just click on the edit translation. That opens up in your normal window, and then these are your translations. Move this down. This shit's not that important. That's it. So you come in and you click it, okay, and you say endurance. Endurance, I guess. I don't know. I'm Canadian, but I don't really speak. I don't speak French. Je parle français un peu, but I mean maybe not enough. But you basically enter one. Boom, checks out the translation. You save that, and then when you're done, you just gather again, and then you compile it, and you're basically done. The only other thing you have to do for translations is you got to go into your project settings, and then go to packaging, and you need to tell it what languages you want. Where is it? It's not expanded here. It's annoying. Okay, yeah, right here. So we go localize. You need to rebuild and compile for it to show French as an option there. It would though, but it's just French right here. We just want French. So you have to do that. That way it'll package. And you have to do that for English too. You need to tell it that you actually do want English. Yeah, it's already on that by default. Okay, but yeah, you need to tell it what everything you want to add. You need to tell it. That's basically it. Okay, that's how you translate a game. If we were to, thing is, you have to do this in. We'll just fudge some data. Just so that we can compile it and show it. So back over here, we're just going to do a regather. We have hardly any, so this is very fast. It's a lot longer in a real project. Got a ton of words or whatever, but you know, it's like a lot of things. Building a big game takes a long time. And then you just compile it. You can see we got 2626, like a pro. And boom, it would be ready. If we package this game, we could do it. Now, we can't test it. We can test it, but we have to do either a built version or a standalone version. We could do standalone for testing, and thankfully the game is very little, so this won't be too bad. But doing standalone tests, it's time consuming. So if we were to go French, let's see if it translates everything. Go back to English. Fucking amazing, right? That's it. That's all you do. That's literally shit. I didn't include a quit game button. I need to manually kill that. Normally, you just hit escape or whatever. You know, I'm just gonna quickly add one because that won't be the last time we pop in character. But we're just gonna get a key. Go with C, and we'll do to quit. Okay, but yeah, you have to test and standalone. It won't work. Won't work otherwise. Like if we go into new editor and we go for it, it doesn't do anything. You know, it just doesn't. It doesn't work. It has to be standalone in order to do that, or build it out. But once you know how this shit works, you don't need to worry about how many tests. You don't need to keep testing it. You know what I mean? Once you know what you're doing, you want to keep testing it. So now, let's go over the serious problems that we just did. Okay? So, first off, this wrap text. Anywhere you're going to do a custom text like this, strings are not taken up. If you notice in our translation, you know, I'm going to actually undock that from there and put it on here. Because I can only use one monitor for this, but normally I get two and I just shit all over the place. But anyway, if you look at the complete, it's over here, whatever. Notice it doesn't show that. Like that. This is your character, blah, blah, blah. This, like, none of this is shown. And that's because it doesn't gather strings. It only gathers text. I don't know why. I mean, I guess because strings are, you know, like string is what you need to manipulate. So that's why strings are more important. And I've used strings all over the place, but the reality is it wants text. But what you can do instead, if you make literal text, okay, and you're like, hello, and then you can have an additional line to add a space if you want to, like, not worry about the formatting, or if you add a space there, then you're gonna have to remember that, like when you get the translation, you're gonna have to add spaces. You gotta watch with, like, punctuation. If it was like, if we were gonna do like a hello comma, that doesn't work in every language. You can't do that. Like, not everyone uses commas. Like, that's, you know what I mean, that's English, and many languages do, but not like the Asian cultures don't use commas and shit like that. But we'll say, we'll put the space there. We'll take the space out of here. So, you got hello. And then you can take this text here. To here would be the same thing. You'd have to, if you need well, technically, your name's gonna go here, and then this won't be translated because it's a string. But names don't really get translated. But if you wanted it translated, all you gotta do is back here, just make it a text, and it'll be collected. Okay. So we'll say we'll put the space there again. And then here, it's like, okay, something like that. And then Boom. So now these will be getting gathered, and it'll be put into there. Now back here, this example text, you don't actually want this gathered. So there's two things you can do. You can either blank it out, like that. If you just blank it out, once you format it and you know it's good to go, it won't be collected. Obviously, nothing doesn't need to be translated. Or you can leave it in and just come in here and be like, don't localize this. I'm going to be manually localizing it. So let's say don't collect it, which is what you also want to do for numbers. When it comes to numbers, you don't actually want to localize those texts either. Right, so we'll get them out of there. And then the other thing, I mean there's several things, but we got that word closed twice, so a good way to deal with that is you go to miscellaneous, we'll go to string table, and we're just going to make a string table called game words. Come in here, come down here, we'll go to okay, so do that, and then back in those menus, we'll take this, instead of having that, we're just going to change it over to the string table, and close is the only one we got, so it picks that right away for us. And then that gets rid of our duplicates as well, which, I mean, if you're paying a professional and you're going to export, you can export the PO file and have a pro do it. You don't want duplicates. That's for damn sure, because they pay you by the word. Okay, so we made those quick changes, and now we're gonna go into okay, yeah, you know what, the next change here with the French. Okay, well actually, you know, I'll demonstrate it, but let's go in here. Actually, let's kill that. Let's come in here, let's do a new gather. This doesn't take that long, thankfully. Just little tiny words. So now we go in these translations. So you can see this is the test message. Like now we only have close, the one close, right? So we'll say, I don't know what the word close is. You know, it's so funny. I've seen this word so many times. I want to say it's like former or something. That's a wild guess though. This we're just gonna, this is just garbage. This would be bonjour. I actually do know that one, although bonjour. Okay. So completed for the endurance. I want this to be like that. These other ones, they don't matter. That's okay. Okay, so we got that. That's good. That's good. All right, let's test. Let's test that. You gotta do standalone. And there's just a few more things we need to fix. Okay, so we go in here, go to French. First off, you notice this is English and French. Why are they? These don't get picked up either, and that's because it's a combo string, not a combo text. And why does that not say former? Oh, I never compiled it. I never recompiled all the text. Okay, that's a mistake. Let's fix that real quick. We have to gather, compile. And then something else you might notice is that, you know, the windows are changing size because we don't have anything locking that size. You could size box the whole window. You could size box one of the texts. There's a million ways you can prepare for that formatting. Whoops. Okay, so let's quick test. glad it builds pretty quick, thankfully. Okay, so wrench. You can see the combo box needs fixed, but that works. Coming to here, it's like, oh no, it's formatting, like it's so big. You can see this text is being done as we want it to. Those are all good. We haven't done the picture yet. We're going to do that in a second. Okay, so first off, this combo string, this is no good. Gotta trash those. We gotta go into, we can use a construct. And we need to add an option. I'm going to do that twice. And then we also need the, we don't have one here, but we need to, once again, we're just going to make literal. And then, I mean, you can either pull from, these make literals are the same thing. You can pull from a string table. But this is English, French. And then, see, here's the thing. Well, I'll show you, but essentially, this is only getting made one time. Right? Let's just do it. I hate this standalone thing all the time. That's super annoying. But it is what it is for this. Okay, so that won't have done anything. Right? Well, we have to compile the text. Whatever. It's not going to work. That doesn't do anything. Because what you need to do is when they click it, like we'll need to take like a custom event. We have to remake the combo. To clear the options and then remake them after the culture's been switched. Essentially, we gotta clear those options and then remake the combo box. So when it comes down here, after we call it, we gotta remake it. Boop boop. Okay. So that's that problem dealt with. And then, because French has some big ass words, what you can do, like if you're going into like, you know, an Asian language or a certain language, they might be shorter, but they might be bigger, unfortunately. So you can either, you know, leave a bit of room, but the one thing you can always do is you can take a scale box. Oh, sorry, I did that in the wrong order. Let's just back that up. I meant to wrap the text in the scale box. Put the text back aligned over here, and then you have the scale box filling. Okay, and you can do that for each of these. Like you can do it for one, and then when you copy paste these and you get your whole, you know, your whole skill sheet going or whatever, then they're good to go. But essentially, you can scale box, and you just got to be careful that you're not going to shrink something too much. But a scale box is a really good way to be ready for these kinds of larger words, which the majority of them aren't longer than English, but some are. So we got that. We got to do a gather. Just because we did the combo box, we need to change that. So come in here. So into untranslated. Or sorry, no, what the hell? Didn't I just add those? What the hell's going on? That's weird. Yeah, these are literal text. That's weird. Oh, maybe because I still had it open. I think I need to. I don't like that. That was weird. Let's redo it. Maybe it's because it's on the constructor or what? What? Why is it not pulling them up? That's so fucking weird. See, now it did. I guess it makes it just had it open. Whatever. So this is like Anglaise or whatever. I don't. Francaise or something, I think. Something like that. So, okay. So we got those. We do a quick gather and then a compile and then we'll test. And then we just got the image. But the main thing that you need to be aware of is that strings will never be collected. Like all your strings will never be collected. So you want to use text everywhere. You want to use string tables because they do get collected. But you want, you have to convert things to strings in order to manipulate them or whatever. But then at the end of the day, you need it to be a text if you want to collect it. And then the scaling issue. And then the image issue. So go French and change those words. Anglaise. Yeah. Go French, and then over here, see the scale box. It just reduces the font a bit to make it fit. It's an easy fix to be ready for all languages if you just have your stuff scale box, and then you could pad that away a little bit too. It's a little. The scale box shouldn't be the full thing. It should be maybe a little padding, but whatever. That's, you get the point. And then let's just do the picture. And then the other thing, I don't like the way the box changes. You can always just come in. You can size box the whole fucking thing. You can do, you do it in whatever works. It's how you do it. You do it how you like, but essentially there's a million ways you could lock this. Like you could lock this based on this, you can have it based on that, you can have it expand as things expand. If you like it changing, that's cool too, man. I just don't like, I don't ever want anything to shift from the center of the screen, so I like to size those off on my own. I mean, this sizing is kind of insane, but whatever, it's not important. You could also take this, because that's in a size box. We could take this one, tell it to fill. We could, you want to do whatever works, man. You could take this, you could size box this off, extend it, and be like, in case, honestly, what if, the word language could be big in other cultures. So you can do the same thing. You have the text over to the right, scale box, fill in that, and then this is the size, and then you can even take the scale box and slightly pad it if you want to pad it away from the full size of the size box. So anyway, that's how you do that. Now let's do the image real quick. So I'm already made a couple images over on my desktop, and yeah, so you got English, non-English. It's not that creative, but so if we come in to here, okay, and we take this image, we'll be like, go to the brush, we'll be like, yes, English. Remember, if you're defaulted to English, you want to start everything with English. Okay, so that's a graphic for English. Okay, I actually didn't mean to. This one shouldn't have been brought in like that. Okay, you bring in your yes English, and then you go localization options. Great for French. Boom, and then it will make this L10N thing. It's just it's where it goes. I know it makes a mirror copy of your folders over here, and then you just gotta come in, and you can just migrate with a new source, or you can open it up and just, where is it? We're gonna just change the source file down here. Change this over to the non-English one. Save that sucker, and then re-import. So you can just do re-import with new file as well, same thing. But you get that imported. Now, that's gonna work, okay? If you have that image set to the English one, and we have the yes English, it's gonna work. I don't know if we have to. I don't think you have to compile the text for that to work. I've never tried to do it without doing that. Yeah, I guess we do have to compile the text and stuff. But that's gonna work. That's not actually. That's good to go though. You just recompile shit. I don't know. I mean, it's not really a text, but I guess it is. But that'll work if you have a static image and you have localized copies of it. That's gonna work. If you have, the real issue is if you're setting it. Okay, like if you're going to on runtime set it, like in gamedev masters, for example, in the employee menu, if you have employee in this slot, then it shows you a picture of the guy, and if you don't, then it puts a word, well, it's a texture, but it's a texture with the word. It's like no employee or empty slot or something, empty employee slot, something like that. It's nice texture. Let me just make sure this is working for you guys. You shouldn't have to reboot the map, I don't think, do you? Oh man, maybe you do have to reload. Normally, yeah, I guess maybe because we're not changing maps. Like normally, you pick this at the settings menu, and then you would go. Shit, but we could probably just pop an open map, open level rather. What the hell map are we working on here? I don't even know. It's gotta be this one, yeah. Typically, actually, I'm just gonna copy that. Typically, you set the language at the main screen, but you need to like reload. There's like a limitation, I guess. So see, if I could do that, then I don't need to see this. This is for the remaking combos is actually for if you stay on the main menu. And I also manually changed the game title. Let's see if this matters, if this works. It should work. There's no reason it shouldn't work. And now there's like a load. Yeah, see, now it's showing you need to do, I guess you have to do a full load from their perspective. But anyway, what I wanted to show you is actually get rid of that because what I wanted to show you is that say you're in here. So this is called image 40. Okay, so in the make HUD, you end up doing a set brush. Alright, so say, like, you got to determine what picture you want. Okay, so if it was like, you know, does he have an employee? It's like, then I would be setting the picture to that employee, which is like a render target, but it's not relevant. But say this is the no employee picture, the one that says English or not English. Basically, the way I handled this in gamedev masters is I come in. I'm just doing a select, okay, and then I have a variable culture ID. It's just an integer. Okay, like that, and then come into here. Oh, why is that one called? Oh yeah, I guess because it's the same. The name is terrible. Don't ignore the name. Okay, so I do that, and then what I also do is on the very, like before that, you run a function for like a pick culture, and then essentially what I do is I just get the current culture, switch on that, get rid of that, and then I just manually put them in here. So if it's English, it's a 0, and if it's French, it's a 1. Okay, and then you just run that function before you do the set brush. Boom. Okay, so that handles like switching the picture based on runtime. If you happen to have a texture that needs to be switched at runtime that happens to also have text on it, I mean, it's one thing to swap a character in or whatever, but you don't really need to localize a character. But so now we're not loading the level. I got rid of that. But this is going to pick the right one just based on the culture flag. So we're on French, come in here, and it picks the right one. It just, you know, that's it. You know, I mean, you have that be like, okay, so it's ZH for Chinese. It's, you know, it's, and then you just, but then you need to manually make sure you're not screwing this up, like that you got the right picture assigned to the number. That's a bit hacky, but I don't know of a better way to do it at runtime. That's what I came up with, and it works for me. And I only have to do it a few times, so whatever. Now, the one other thing, if you don't know what the codes are, so you just mouse over it, ENFR, like, so we had Chinese in here as well. What the fuck is it? I guess it's not. They like, maybe it's under. Why is it not there? The hell's Chinese? I swear to God, the Chinese is there. It's just a weird, something weird. Whatever. We're adding Tatar. I don't even know what that is, but we're adding it. But yeah, that would be TT. So any language, culture you add. Oh, you know, it's because I got French as my language in here for some reason. But you basically just mouse over it, get those letters, and then be like, okay, so TT would be the next one, and then you could come in here, and just add that pin, like TT, and TT would be swapping it over to a 2, and then you put the appropriate picture back in here. You just add a pin to this, and just boop, and be like, just for function's sake, we'll add the same one. But yeah, you get it, man. That's all there really is, and that's basically how to manage all these different kinds of issues. It's the same as like, if this button, you know, former or whatever is too big, like you might want to make your stuff like with scale boxes. That's basically what I've learned as well, is like, if you scale box it, size box it, okay, and then you come in and you're like, look, or see that this is expanding to the button. The button's expanding to the text. You don't need to do that. But when you have several buttons, like one for OK, one for cancel, one for whatever, I don't like them being different sizes. I mean, that's a design choice, I guess, but it bothers me. I don't ever like to play with, like, I like all my shit uniform. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna have 2 buttons, I want uniform looking buttons. So if you have the size box, scale box, you can just like okay, so that's your max, dude. And then, so that would be, call it 118. Then we come in here, pop that to 118. And then that way the form error is going to be forced, even though it's a little bit bigger, it's going to be forced into that size, which is a good reason to leave a little bit of wiggle room as well. Although, as I said, a lot of the languages are smaller. See, like that, see how that changes the button size? See, that one's, which is a that's a fine solution too, especially if you only got one button. But I don't like it to change. I'd rather it shrunk the text so you can barely even tell, because it's only like one extra letter. You can barely tell that it shrunk that word, but it did. It absolutely did shrink that word a little bit. So you can see there's space on here, but there isn't space with the other word. Anyway, those are basically the issues I ran into. There's all the text that you build. You want to do this with text if you want it called for the localization. Switches on those. The building out combo boxes have to be built out. Basically, it's got to be a text, not a string. It's the same as if you want this guy's name pulled, then have this be a text. And if you do have a text in here, say you got mine. Well, sorry, I guess. So you got my name too, and this one you actually did use a text, but then you're like, oh, you know what? I don't really want this to be pulled or whatever. You don't have to. And you come in here and you got your little text. You could be like, no, don't pull this. Same thing. So you're better to work with text variables, and then just take them, and like worst case, you can two-string a text, work on it, like chop it up or do whatever you got to do to it or whatever, and then just go back to text. Boom. Same as like you use your pen string to make your text and stuff, but you just do it from text, and then you'll be good here. And that's basically, and then the scale box thing for sizing stuff to keep everything all locked in. That's it. That's basically take those issues and do them, I don't know, several thousand times or whatever, and yeah, you're looking at what I had to go through and fix everything and the formatting and all the, like, I have strings all over the place making text. Like, this is a tycoon game. It's all HUDs and stuff. But anyway, hopefully this helps somebody. Don't be afraid to localize. It's better to have more players, and just don't make the same mistakes as me. And if you ever need any help, especially with blueprints, then feel free to come to the GDM Discord and hit me up. I love helping people. That's why I did this video. I personally learned a lot for my game dev on YouTube, so I like to put a little bit back as well. So I think it's something everyone should do. But yeah, hopefully this helps somebody, and good luck out there with your work. All right, thanks everyone.